Black woman. Beautiful, powerful, resilient female of African descent with skin kissed by the sun. Conversation. A talk, especially an informal one between two or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. We love being Black women. Black women are ambitious. Black women are confident. Black women are diligent. We are tenacious. We walk out of our houses put together. We are many shades and personalities of fabulous. But we as Black women don't talk about our dilemmas, current events, and what's going on every day that affects us. So, we created this podcast as a way to laugh together, cry together, and have an open conversation about life as Black women.
Oh, that's deep. Black Women Conversations.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Janine.
How's your week been?
I feel like it ran by. I wish there was some time that I said, oh, the week went by really slow and I felt like I got a whole bunch done. But this is not that week. I mean, this week, it flew by. I don't know where the days went. I feel like I was not as productive as I should have been because honestly, I can't remember where the days went. This weekend, I spent pretty much volunteering with the Junior League of Houston because, we have to have a certain amount of days. So I was talking to these other leaguers. And if y'all don't know what the Junior League is, right? There's Junior League in every city, right? So this is where I feel like all of the girls that used to be, in college for sororities are now Junior League. So it's primarily a Caucasian organization, but there are Black women in it. And you connect and do service, right? And when I tell you I feel like the help when I volunteered, baby, I feel like the help. We wear our Junior League aprons that say JLH on them. They're light green with a darker green JLH. And we have to wear our white button-up collar shirts, or you can wear a white sweater, and our Black pants and our apron when we're serving at the Junior League. And that's how the league makes its money, right? We have a Junior League of Houston building, which is phenomenal. It's like an old school building that has like all this like antique, beautifully updated stuff. And there's a grand ballroom, and then there's a tea room, which is like a restaurant with like 3 tea rooms off of the main tea room restaurant. So it's like garden rooms that you can rent out. And so people can host their baby showers there. They can host weddings there. They can host galas there. I mean, it is pretty much functioning as an event center that feels like homey. And so we get money to run the organization by people renting out space for those events. And they also have to use Junior League catered meals, right? Because we have a full kitchen staff and, we run every day. And Houston has one of the biggest chapters. It has 5,000 members, right? And I was thinking to myself, one, why are the Black graduate sororities not doing this? Why do we have 50 bazillion chapters in every city? Everybody's trying to break off and make another interest group because these people piss me off. So I'm going to break off and make an interest group. Listen, I know people are probably going to be like, oh, how dare she talk about interest groups? Listen, I've been a soror for a long time now, so I can say what I want to say. And I think it's silly if you have a chapter in that area to break off and start another chapter. And if we would all come together, we could have our big mansion too. And all of our members can sustain the big mansion too. I said what I said, and I meant what I said. I wish that we could all come together, even if it's multiple chapters that own a building, and then you rent out space for that. And we have all of our meetings in a space. I mean, we pay thousands of dollars a month for meeting space. That's a mortgage. Meanwhile, the junior leaguers, have come together in every city, and they have thousands of members that sustain these beautiful buildings, and they do all these events. I'm just saying that is one way that I think, sororities can sustain themselves better. Now, I will say the sisterliness, obviously you're not getting that with Junior League. You're going to get that with your sororities. But I do think the fact that they have something that's well-oiled is phenomenal. But yes, that's why I spend my weekend volunteering with the Junior League. Feeling like the help, okay? My 2 cents.
Sounds busy. So you volunteered. Did you have a Junior League and an AKA volunteering thing this weekend or just Junior League?
I just had Junior League, or I had Junior League on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and had chapter meeting on Saturday. So that's, or AKA chapter meeting. So that's probably why you remember like a mix of the two. But for the most part, December is like wind down time for like everybody, for all organizations, the last couple weeks. So
yeah, I agree. I can't wait because I have 2 weeks off at the end of the year for the first time, I think, ever since I've been working. I mean, since like, college. I will have the 2-week, Christmas break off.
Well, that's exciting, but that's only because you're transitioning from one job completely to another job. So this is your break before you like start the mad dash and start doing all of the events. Yes. Yay! I'm excited.
But my new job does have the 2 weeks off every year though. So that's a perk. Please understand, I will look forward to that every year just because, normally things just keep rolling. And this will be the first job that I've had that's like, you know what? You need to have a break. So I'm appreciative of it. I really am.
So wait a minute. So your new job, you have the last 2 weeks of December off every single year?
Every year. Sounds fun, right?
That's dope. That's dope. Where we going next year? Where we going? Because, next year I turn 40.
Okay. Pick the place. We can start planning now. We're going. We know. We're going. And I don't even have to take off from work. Look at how God works. Look at that.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I want to be off the last 2 weeks of every year.
Right? But look, I think that you should take off the last 2 weeks of every year because you and I both work like we are on a rat race every single day in, day out. And we know that most of the year you stay on call. So I think that you should just plan it now. Take off next year, the last 2 weeks of the year. It's your birthday. You're turning 40. We'll plan, figure out where we're going to go and make it a big thing. Like, we might as well. Why not? You're only going to turn 40 once.
I take the job 1 year at a time. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not on here. I don't like my job, but I know that my contract ends in December of 2022. That's all I'm saying, right? December 16th. So that would give me 2 weeks if I did not come back to my job. But we're going to see what happens with that. But I do want to do something for my 40th birthday. I do want to go somewhere. So I will keep you posted because you only turn 40 once. So what are you looking forward to with the new gig that you're starting in 2022?
I think that the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is work-life balance, honestly, and figuring out what that really looks like. Because I feel like for the past, 20 years, at the beginning of my radio career, I still had work-life balance. But I think that as I started getting into like management of radio, the work-life balance kind of went by the wayside. So I would say for the past at least 15, 16 years, the majority of my life has been work and figuring out how to prioritize myself and my goals and my priorities as opposed to my career goals and my career priorities. So I'm trying to figure out what that looks like. And I'd like to have a good handle on that by the time that I turn 40. So I have about 1.5 years. So that's really my focus of, yes, I'd like to progress in my career. And I've proven that I can do that, but I need to figure out how to progress in my career and have a nice balance between my home life and my work life and spending more time with my friends and family and people that I care about and not having those relationships kind of fall by the wayside while I try to climb the corporate ladder.
Ooh, girl, when you figure that out, let me know. Let us all know. Work-life balance, I feel like is something that's constant, right?
Yeah.
You're constantly trying to make sure you have time without letting your job completely slip by the wayside and without having to constantly get a new job. Like I tell myself, the next job I have, I really want to be permanent. I really don't want to move anywhere else. I really don't want to have to get another job. I'd rather stay in that job and move up. But these jobs keep on pissing us off in such a manner that we have to go and find something else because they're trying to get something for nothing, especially in the middle of a pandemic. The pandemic has let people's true colors shine through. Like, oh, we're not going to hire anybody for this job, so we want you to do this over here too. Well, that's not going to keep me around.
Amen.
Just saying.
Amen and amen. That is the one thing that one of many, I should say, things that we learned during the pandemic, that it's not really an employer's market anymore. The employees are the ones that are, calling the shots at this point. These companies are now seeing that they need them.
No, I agree with that. But I do feel for business owners. I was trying to go somewhere today because I'm like, I can get me some pink and green jewelry because I'm going to go to such event, right? Mm-hmm. What happened to the store? It closed. The nearest one is in Arlington. I was like, well, I'm not driving to Arlington.
Right.
But it's a result of the pandemic. So I get them trying to stretch employees further so that they can stretch their dollar further and so they can stay open. I mean, it's a fine line. It's like if they close, then you don't have a job at all, but then you don't want to be working for nothing. Yeah, let's just get out of the pandemic. Maybe that's the solution.
Yeah.
Then we can go back to regular stuff. But we're not going to talk about that today, though. We are not. What's on your timeline, Janine?
So Anne Frances Robbins is on our timeline. So Anne Frances Robbins is who we ask? Anne Frances Robbins is better known to us as Nancy Reagan. So I won't tell you quite yet, even though you know Nicole, but I'm not going to tell everybody else why she's on our timeline at the moment. I'm going to just give you a little bit of backstory. So Nancy was born in New York City to a Broadway actress and a farmer. Her parents separated when she was young, and she went to live with her aunt in Bethesda, Maryland, not that far away from me. That's where I was born, by the way, for 6 years. And she attended my alma mater, Sidwell Friends School. So her mother remarried to a neurosurgeon, Dr. Davis, and Dr. Davis legally adopted Nancy Davis, and that's how her name got changed to Nancy Davis. They called her Nancy when she was Anne too, like as a child. So they just changed her name legally to Nancy Davis. So the family moved to Chicago, where she went to Girls Latin. And then she moved and went to Smith College, and she was an English and a drama major. After graduation, she had several odd jobs. She, I think, was a nursing aide. She worked at a department store, I believe. And with the help of some of her mother's friends, she got into acting. So she started off on Broadway in New York City. And after passing the screen test, which I didn't even know there was a such thing, but she passed a screen test, she moved to California and signed a 7-year deal with MGM, where she appeared in several feature films, but she was kind of typecasted. She was always the loyal housewife or the responsible young mother or a steady woman, something very wholesome and respectable. So during her Hollywood career, she dated a number of actors, and on November 15th, 1949, she met fellow actor and president of the Screen Actors Guild, Ronald Reagan. After 3 years, the couple decided to marry. Her husband traded in his acting career for a political one, which we know, and Nancy Reagan became the First Lady of California in the 60s or 70s, I don't remember. And then in 1981, she became the First Lady of the United States, which is how we all pretty much know her best. She and her husband were known for their crackdown on drugs, pun intended. She was best known for her controversial Just Say No campaign, which was her First Lady initiative. She was also known to have a strong influence on her husband's term in office, but after his diagnosis of Alzheimer's, shortly after he left office, it kind of became clear why she was so instrumental in his political career at the time. So none of what I just mentioned had anything to do with the reason why Twitter lost it and Nancy Reagan, former First Lady of the United States, was trending. So I will give you why she's trending. She is on our timeline because the Village Voice re-released an article that was originally published in 1998, pre-social media, by the way. And the article is by James Ledbetter, and it's entitled Paying Lip Service. Now, this article is about numerous sexual exploits in the nation's capital. I'll say in and around the nation's capital. It's just an article about how, I would say, intricately oral sex is ingrained into the society of the nation's capital. It talks about everyone from former President Bill Clinton to the former Virginia Senator Chuck Robb to Newt Gingrich to even DC's forever mayor, Marion Barry. In the article, it also refers to an unauthorized biography that came out in 1992 entitled Nancy Reagan. And that biography is by Kitty Kelly. And while the biography is unauthorized, it's very widely known. And this is why. In the biography, it says Nancy Reagan was renowned in Hollywood for performing oral sex. Just Say Yes, Nancy is what it calls her in the book. And it says that she was known for giving the best. Not only was she giving these blowjobs in the evening, but she was also giving them in offices too. And they say that's why she was so popular on the MGM lot. Now, my question is, who knew? Now, this book came out in 92. Well, someone knew. Too Short knew. And he told us in his 1989 song, Cuss Words, all about Nancy and her actions. This was in 89. This was before the book was even written that Too Short was telling us about what was going on with Nancy Reagan. So look, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit shocked because, in our lifetime, we knew her as First Lady of the United States. But I'm not surprised now that I kind of went into her history and the time in Hollywood and how, women were probably forced to kind of behave, which I'm not gonna say that she was forced to because that has a whole nother set of negative implications. But I'm just saying, I think it was probably more commonplace for women to service men so that they could get, ahead in the game. But let me say this. There's not really a lot of positive things that we've heard about Nancy Reagan, but this is one. And I'm going to say it's positive because it gives us an excuse to have the conversation about something that Black women don't often talk about, or they kind of shy away from this topic, or they either talk about it a lot. Either way, it's kind of polarizing topic for Black women. And that is the topic of fellatio. Some women are embarrassed to talk about it. Some women embrace their sexuality and talk about it freely. And then, there's the good old church girls who claim they'll never do it. But again, I'm here for this conversation as I've had it with so many of my friends in various groups of my friends. So let's talk about it, Nicole. What do you think?
So I'm proud of Nancy. I'm sort of kind of proud of her. So if your reputation is that you pleasure your husband, that's a great reputation to have. But I think what Too Short and them saying is that she was getting down to get roles and all that other stuff. Now, if that's the case, then, you shouldn't have to suck your way to the top. Literally. Sound nasty when I said it though, but you shouldn't have to do that. Okay. And I hope she didn't do that. I think that her legacy as a powerful, strong first lady is there. And for me, I equate that to her knowing how to handle business with her own husband. But what she did before she got married is not about nobody's business. And once she got married, as long as it was between her and her husband, then I'm fine with it. I mean, I'm not going to judge any woman for their past or what they have done in their past, but she went forth. She was a married woman. She did what she had to do as a married woman and helping support the country. So I can't bash Nancy. I can't do it.
I'm not bashing her. I'm just saying, if we are the kind of person that is open-minded enough to, as you put it, Nicole, suck our way to the top, then we should have been a little bit more open-minded and lenient with our drug mission. But we're not going to talk about that part because we're really going to talk about oral sex and how it's very ironic that she was typecast into this like wholesome character. She was a strong first lady and she had this, as you talked about before, this outward persona. But behind the scenes, she was out here slobbing knobs for every Tom, Dick, and Harry, apparently. How does that
But we don't know that to be true. We don't know that to be true. We don't know that.
Not when
she could have slobbed one good knob.
No. Not when Too Short to Ronald Reagan, Nicole.
She was single. Listen, she was single. As long as she was protecting herself and making sure that she did not get any diseases, she can be sexually fluid. We don't care. We are actually applauding women that are sexually fluid.
Yes, we will
as long
applaud
as you
them.
are protecting yourself and you're not hurting anybody else.
But was that?
That's all I'm saying.
But was that the message?
Leave Nancy B. She snagged. Listen. If your head good enough to snag a president and get you in the White House, hats off, girl. You go.
Not snag a president.
Just
and get
saying.
you in the White House.
Just saying.
Oh my God.
People hating. But listen, people over here topping off, Tito and them that's going to make an awful baby daddy and ain't working. No job, now job. And you topping him up. My thing is top off quality. Top off your husband.
Amen.
Go ahead. Top off quality.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. I'm here for it. But then, we have that other subset of people that don't believe that you should top off at all. What about them, Nicole?
You know what?
What do we say to them?
Well, we do have a letter from one of our avid listeners that's
Okay.
talking about that very thing. Before we start there, more power to those that don't want to top. Listen, it's not for everyone. It is not for everyone. And so no judgment here, as long as you are being safe and you are not endangering anybody, okay? Your business. But if you only want to be traditional, that's fine too. But you got to make sure that the other person okay with being traditional. Everybody has a match, okay? And if you don't have a match, that means you by yourself, your solo match, okay? So be happy with whatever match you're working with. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I think that we need to clarify what being safe is. I think that we don't really talk about that enough.
I mean, there's a such thing as a tongue-dum and a condom, okay? So you got a tongue-dum and you have a condom. If you're a woman and you're giving oral sex, you should use a tongue-dum as well, okay? Unless you're with someone trusted, okay? Trusted, like, hey, we gonna be together and my juices and your juices are the only two juices gonna mix. Okay. And we both gotten tested and we're SD free and we're going to go forth and do our own thing together in a monogamous relationship. That would be safe. But if y'all dipping and dabbing and swinging and doing all those things, condoms and tongue-dums, because birth control does not stop the spread of disease. Just saying.
Amen. And what about dental dams? Do those work?
Mm-mm.
So y'all don't be out here using a dental dam thinking it's going to keep you from getting an STD. Just FYI.
Let's say this. Even the barrier methods, right, do not protect 100% from things like HSV and HSV, which is herpes, or HPV, right? Because those juices you can still get contact from skin to skin. Like if you have a condom on, yeah, that's going to stop. Janine is cringing. You can still get warts and lesions around there. Condoms don't protect against that. Barrier methods don't protect against all STDs, but it's the safest you can get.
Yeah, I think that we just make sure that everyone's tested and that we are safe with the contraceptive and protection and safe with the selection of the person that we are choosing to participate in oral sex with as well. I think that that's probably the safest. Let's just take all precautions just to be sure.
I agree. All right. So, Janine, let's talk through some scenarios to help some of our listeners. Why don't we?
Let's do it.
Our first letter reads, Nicole and Janine, my husband filed for divorce because I won't give him oral sex. We've been married 8 years now, and until about 2 years ago, we didn't have a problem. When we met, I thought he had a fetish with porn because he asked if we could watch one day when we were making out. I told him I don't watch porn because it taints the expectations of sex because some of the acts are unrealistic. He understood and never brought it up again. Fast forward, after we got married, we maintained an active sex life. He has older kids from a previous marriage, and I didn't want any, so we've enjoyed a life of exotic and romantic vacations. On one vacation 2 years ago, after he went down on me, he hinted that he wanted me to go down on him. That led to an argument. Since that time, we've had sex less and less. When we have sex, it's usually super quick and not romantic. The last time we had sex was 6 weeks ago. He tried to gradually push my head to his penis. I snapped. Now he wants a divorce. I think he's being extreme. I told him we could try different positions, but we can't do that. I told him he doesn't have to go down on me, but he says he enjoys doing it. I told him I wouldn't enjoy giving him head, so don't make me do something that would make me despise him. Ladies, what can I do to make my man understand that our relationship is more than just oral sex? How can I spice up my marriage without going down? I literally think I would throw up if I forced it.
Okay, before I even get into this letter, I feel like the person that wrote in for the letter that I'm going to read has been married for 8 years too. So I feel like, is this some like 8-year situation that happens with when it comes to oral sex? Because like, whoa, doggy, what's happening? So first of all, girl, how you out here accepting oral sex, but you not giving the oral sex? Like, don't it talk about being equally yoked or something? Ain't that what it says? Or they want to talk about oral sex when they were talking about that?
No.
I'm just saying, how is it that you have allowed your husband to perform oral sex on you, but you are not willing to even attempt to perform oral sex on him? My question is, have you ever done it before? Does it feel like you're gagging the last time that you did it? Or have you just not tried it? I feel like it's like food. You can't say that you don't like something until you try it. If you have tried it and you don't like it, then maybe we can have a conversation. But you should have probably had that conversation prior to you getting married. And you should have also had that conversation prior to you allowing your husband to perform oral sex on you. Now, girl, I know that you think that it's extreme that your husband is getting a divorce from you. However, I don't think that that's extreme. He has every right to file for a divorce because you over here being selfish, girl. Like, what are you doing? You feel like you're going to gag? Girl, if you don't take some like anti-gag medication and do what you got to do, like you don't plan on ever doing this for your husband, like ever in life. You're only 8 years in. So you want him to say that he's never going to get it ever? Girl, you going to be sitting at home trying to figure out why you and your husband are not having intimate sex anymore and why your sex life seems like a chore now because you are unwilling to try oral sex. Now, if you have tried it and you don't like it, then maybe that's a different conversation and maybe you all need to maybe go to some therapy. But if you haven't tried it, girl, you are really being selfish. And if it were the other way around, we would be railing your husband right now. So let's sit for a second and think about this. And I know that you feel like you're not going to enjoy it or you're going to gag or whatever, but it sounds like you've never tried it. So let's go on and try it. Be mature. Do what your husband is asking you to do. Compromise. See, that's a really important word in marriage. Compromise. Let's compromise and let's try it. And then, let's go from there. I have a sneaking suspicion that if you do try it, you won't mind it as much as you're thinking that you're going to mind it. And you might do it every now and again. And then you save your marriage. See how easy that is? Let's just try. What do you think, Nicole?
I think that let me be diplomatic for a second. Every marriage should maintain a healthy mutual sex life, meaning you have sex because you enjoy it and he has sex because he enjoys it. You shouldn't have sex if you feel like there's something you need to work through. But if that was not the case and you're just like the thought of like ejaculate in my mouth or, the thought of it makes you gag, perhaps going to a sex therapist would help. And that way you guys can explore healthy ways to both dive deeper in your sexual relationship. So that way you can save your marriage. Okay. Sex therapists work and they help you regain intimacy and closeness within your relationship. Now, on another note, that 8-year thing you brought up is some real stuff, right? My mother-in-law told me if you can make it, and she told us this before we got married, if you can make it 8 years, you'll stay married forever, right? Me and my husband are about to be on year 6. So pray our strength through these next 2 years. Okay, is all I'm saying. But 8 years is that like golden period where it's all or none. So y'all are right at 8 years. Okay. And so this is a year that's going to make or break your relationship. Now, the question I have is when you met him, you told him the thing about porn. Okay. You like, I don't like porn. And I agree. When I used to go on my women's retreats for church, my pastor and the pastor's wife would say, don't bring porn into your marriage because then that does give you and your husband an unrealistic expectation of sex, right? You got these women, hanging from the ceiling and making everything look like it's pleasurable when realistically I can't get my big old butt up on the ceiling and flip it around and you want your husband to thrust you upside down and flip you over and have sex on the wall. Now, that is unrealistic, right? And when you can't do some of these acrobatic moves, then somebody's disappointed because they're looking at Cindy and she can do the acrobatic moves. Why can't you do the acrobatic move? But Cindy getting paid a lot of money to do this, okay? Cindy got trained to do this, okay? So I do agree that it does bring unrealistic expectations, but it doesn't mean that just because you don't watch porn doesn't mean you have to be very boring in the bedroom. Christian women can be freaks in the bedroom. There's nothing that says that you have these rules and regulations when it comes to sex. And sometimes I think as a Christian woman, you can't struggle with that. Like, how dirty is too dirty? Well, when you marry, it's no such thing as being too dirty. There's just no such thing. And my thing is, if you literally don't want to give him oral sex, you need to do sex therapy because you will lose your husband. Like, this is now a social norm, is to give oral sex. The social norm is to be Nancy Reagan. Okay. And if it's the thought of like your gag reflex, just try it. If you vomit, I promise he'll be okay. He'll be okay. And so after that time, maybe he won't want you to do it because he doesn't want vomit on him. Okay. Sometimes you have to show people like, this is really going to make me vomit. And then he'll be like, okay, yeah, let's not, like, maybe you lick it one time and then we move on. And then you won't have to do all of that, but you gotta try. And like I said before, a sex therapist can help you work out some techniques. Like, what is your hindrance? Is it the fact that you will vomit? Is it the fact that you don't want to ejaculate in your mouth? So then you need to learn how to pull back real quick, girl. Pull back, right? And then let him come somewhere else. Is it the fact that you don't want to swallow? Because there's a towel trick for that. Okay. It's a towel trick for that. You don't have to do that. Okay. So, I mean, there's some things that you can learn that you're like, oh, I didn't really want to swallow. Oh, I don't have to. Okay. Yeah, as long as the whole gag thing, you got to get that under control. But there are sprays that you can use to make the back of your throat, basically numb so you don't have a gag reflex. There are potions you can use to make the taste flavorful. There's all kinds of things nowadays that you can try that will make the experience a little bit better for you. But you have to explore the why. Is it the taste? Is it the gag? Is it the swallow? Is it something in your mouth? Like, what is it, girl? Because there's some things that are on the market nowadays that can help you through those things. I'm just saying.
And I would like to add that you can give a faux job. A faux job is when it's just real lathery and you use your hands. You can give a faux job. It can just, I'm just saying, you don't have to, if you really have an aversion to having a penis in your mouth, you can give a faux job so he feels like it's in your mouth, but it's really just your hands, girl. There are a lot of things that you can do, but losing your husband should not be one of them. I'm just saying.
No, it should not. It should not. There's too many things. You look silly getting divorced for not giving head. Let's just say it.
Amen.
You look silly for getting divorced for not giving head. I'm just saying.
I agree 100%. Like, this should not be what breaks up your marriage. And you can say that your husband is being selfish, but he's not, because he wasn't not willing to do the same for you. So he's just asking for you to reciprocate.
But before we move on to the next letter, I will say this. If you're not giving him what he needs, somebody else, let me tell you, because some people don't even think that's cheating to go down on somebody. Okay. And I don't know what he do, but if he got a real good job and Mindy over there is single and I'm your man and she's a Nancy Reagan, she might steal your man just because she give a good top. Just saying.
I've seen Mindy steal the man when the wife does do what she's supposed to be doing. So I'm just glad that he has brought this to your attention and said that it's an issue. But hopefully you can save your marriage before it ends in divorce.
All right, Janine. So what's your letter read?
This one says, ladies, I need your help because I'm tired. And it says, tired. When my husband and I first got married, we had oral sex daily. My husband and I have now been married for 8 years, and I can count on one hand the number of days that my husband has not received oral stimulation from me. The problem is, now he expects to do it every single day. It's almost a chore at this point. Let me say this. He is willing to reciprocate, but honestly, who wants to do this every single day? I love my husband and would do anything for him, but mama and her jaws are tired. How can I get my husband out of this daily routine so that I can make this special again? Signed, Tisha.
Tisha, what is the problem? Okay. Your husband is giving you oral sex every day and you giving him oral sex every day. What is the problem? What is wrong, girl? You've been doing this for 8 years and you just now complaining. Your job should be so strong right now that it don't even matter. It's like somebody that works out every day. At first, it's hard, right? You're like, oh, I can't even run. And then once you get used to running every day, it's like when you don't run, it's like, wait a minute, something's wrong with me. I need to go running. It's like an adrenaline rush, right? Like you like want to go running. You're yearning to run. You've been doing this for 8 years and you just now saying that you, girl, bye. Like, what is your problem? Somebody's going down on you every day too. Like, he putting in work because you know what, as women, we sort of kind of greedy when it comes to oral sex. We don't want one. I mean, it's going to have to be multiple. And so he's putting in way more work than you are putting in because you can control that situation a little bit better. We don't have a refractory period like them. So let me tell you, he's not complaining and he's doing this every day. So you should not be complaining about doing it every day. I know after 8 years, you know the tricks to make him come quicker, okay? Do that. And then if you want to spice it up, bring some toys in. Get your little pocket friend out. Get your grapefruit out. Get your little, potions and motions and all that other stuff out. Say, hey, let's switch it up a bit. Let's switch it up. Give you a break. I'm just saying, you can spice it up and add those things to your daily regimen. But Tisha, I see no problems, girlfriend. There's zero problems right now. What you think, Johnny?
Okay, so my jaws are hurting from laughing so hard at what you're saying because if I could have said it myself, I would have not have said it better. I'm trying to figure out what the issue is too. What is the problem? I could understand if you were complaining if he was asking you to have oral sex with him or perform oral sex on him and he was not performing oral sex on you as well. But you asked in the letter, who wants that every day? Me, I raised my hand when you asked. I raised my hand because yes, every day. If 2, 3, 4 times a day if we need to. But yes, every day. Girl, I get it. We all want what we can't have. You said you could count on one hand. So that means it's been less than 5 times that you've not had oral sex in 8 years. So girl, you've probably got some Guinness Book of World Records going on out here. But I'd like to ask you, what was the reason that those 5 times you were not having oral sex? Like what happened? I'm just curious. I'm not mad at it. So I'm not mad at your husband for wanting it every day. I'm just trying to figure out how come you don't want it every day.
I feel like those 5 times are probably when they just weren't by each other. The question I want to say is, okay, let's say you got your wish, right? He comes home, he goes to take a shower, and he goes into bed and goes to sleep. Then you're going to have mud on your face. You're going to be looking crazy and wondering what's going on. Why is the routine switched up? That's what you're going to be wondering. Don't ask for what you don't want.
That's true.
Because you may get it.
That is very true.
All right, Janine. So what did you learn new this week?
So I learned a couple of things. One of the things that I learned that is kind of bad, actually, is that according to the American Cancer Society, there are links to throat cancer and oral sex. And it's not specifically oral sex per se, but kind of what you were talking about earlier, Nicole, about protection is that people spread HPV orally, and then when it's in your throat, it can cause cancer. So the same way that it can cause cervical cancer, I think that's what HPV causes, right, Nicole? You're shaking your head, yes. So, yes. So HPV causes cervical cancer. Apparently it can cause throat cancer too. So let's protect ourselves if we're having oral sex. But then also, according to a CDC survey, almost half of teens and 90% of adults have had oral sex. So there's 10% of adults that do not have oral sex and about half of teens that don't have oral sex, which I think it should be a lot more than that, teens that don't have oral sex. But that's just me. What did you learn new this week, Nicole?
I learned 4 reasons oral sex is good for relationships from ravishly.com. Number 1, oral sex is about giving to your partner. So it is like giving a gift. So if your partner's love language is receiving gifts, this is one that you can give. Number 2, there's no wrong way to experience sexuality. So it's not wrong. So it used to be sort of kind of taboo, right? Like when Nancy was doing it, it was like, Nancy, she has to be the good girl. Well, now that's not the truth. So there's no wrong way to experience sexuality. You just explore it. Number 3, oral sex can be more intimate than penetrative sex. Okay, so you have to really let go of yourself to let someone else take control with oral sex. So that is, and you don't necessarily have to do that with penetrative sex. Both of you are trying to be in control, but with oral sex, you are the receiver and you are just basically allowing your partner to control that sexual situation and your sexual arousal. And number 4, mutual sexual experiences help to breed closeness.
I like that.
All right. So the motivational moment for the week comes from Woody Allen. And he says, sex relieves tension. Love causes it. So make sure to relieve tension with the one you love in every form and position. Until we meet again.
Pray, work, slay.
And show off your melanated excellence. Bye!
Oh, That's Deep, Black Women Conversations is produced by Nicole Lee Plenty and Janine Brunson Johnson. Executive producer, Ken Johnson. Get the Oh, That's Deep, Black Women Conversation podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or where you get your podcasts. Please subscribe and rate us. You can follow Oh That's Deep Black Women Conversations on IG at Oh That's Deep BWC. Oh That's Deep Black Women Conversations is a Mean Old Lion Media production.